Hi everybody, so today I'm talking about the Paper Hearts Planner, and previously I discussed what the opening pages were like, and now we are going to look at the daily side. So I kind of think of it as the monthly opening pages are for you to use throughout the month. Like you can start and have like a set goal and fill it in and stuff, but refer to it back as you go throughout the month. But the daily pages, which is what we're going to be looking at today, they're here for you to use on a daily way as you write your book. So the goal here, as I try to figure out how I'm going to show you, the goal here is that you start a writing session with this side, and then at the end of a writing session, you fill out this side. So these two pages combined represent an entire writing session. You can do this daily. You can split it up however way you write. I don't personally write every day. It's fine. Don't feel bad if you don't. But this is what it's designed for, so that when you start writing, you do this side. When you finish your writing session for the day, you do this side. And so I thought I'd do is take you through a sample of it. I'm going to use a Sharpie so that you can see better on the screen, but I actually would recommend you use a ballpoint or something else. The pages are pretty thick, but it's probably better not to use a Sharpie for your actual planning purposes. Also, this just a thick pen. So anyway, let's get started. So if I was going to be writing today, I would put down the date, which is something that I don't remember. So I'm going to put down that it's Halloween because everything's better when it's Halloween. I made that up. And then I'll put the starting word count. And I have the starting word count here because I very often forget what my starting word count is. I will start writing and I'll look at the number and go, oh, I'll remember it's about 7,000 words. And then when I get to the end, I have 1,000,000% forgotten where I started. So starting word count here. After that, I've got these top sections that we'll focus on. And like I said over and over and over again with this, it is pretty simple, and that's the point. The point is that this should not take you more than 5 or 10 minutes before you write, and then it should give you that time back by making you more productive and focused. So I do not want to waste writers' time, and for me, a lot of planners did that, and that's why I made this. So it's very blank, it's very adaptable for that reason. So the first thing I'm going to look at is this right here, the circle that has a key in it. I'm not sure if you can see it on the screen, but I promise there's a key. And I want you to think of a key word or a touchstone or something to focus your writing on. So I'm going to pretend that I'm going to have a writing session on a middle grade novel that I'm currently working on. I don't know if anything's going to happen with it, but it is something that I'm working on. And right now, I'm a little bit stuck at a place where I need my character to start making new friends. And she's very hesitant to, and I feel like I'm sort of spinning my wheels on that. So I'm going to put in the word friendship for my key, so that as I write today, I need to focus back in on the friendship aspect of it. I think I'm getting a little bit too caught up in the plot, and I need that emotional side of the friendship because that's really the heart of my scene. So that's going to be my keyword of the day. I'm going to remember that as I do my writing session. But that said, I do have some main goals. For me, I know that I can usually, in a good writing session, get out about 1,000 words. And I'm going to make that a little bit higher because I've the kids in preschool, I have a little extra time. So I'm going to put in 1,500 words as a main goal. I also really want them to get to a point where they start their journey. I've had them talking, and I can feel that this pace is not working. I want them to go on the journey. So my goal is to get in the 1,500 words I'm going to write. They're going to start this journey. And then there is a clue that I need to add. And I'm not sure how I'm going to do it, but I'm going to say I would like to at least hint at the character Jamie. I have a character named Jamie, and that character has a secret. So I'm going to say hint at Jamie's secret, because somewhere in that story, not this session, but I know in the future I'm going to reveal the secret. So I'll hint at it. Those are my main goals. I clearly have something a little specific with word count. I'm not always a fan of making word count be a goal, but for me right now, that's the goal I have. But also within the story, I want them to start the journey and hint at the secret. That will move both my characters and my plot forward. So with this idea figured out, I want to focus in on character, plot, and world. And these are the things that make up a story, and these are the things I need to keep in mind. So for me, for character, I really need to focus on developing friendship, because I feel like I'm getting a little bit lost on that. And really the heart of this story is about friendship. So focus on developing friendship for character. For my plot, I already have it up here, but it's something I really need to work on. It is getting to the start of the journey. Basically, I have these characters, they're going to go on a quest. And if this was Lord of the Rings, everybody's still sitting in Bilbo's house talking about going. They haven't gone yet, and it's driving me bananas, and I know I need to fix on that. So start of the journey for here. And then for the world, I want to reveal what's in the forest. And if this was my real journal my real planner that I was using, I would be more specific. But because I hope this book becomes a real book, and I want to surprise you, I'm not going to tell you what's in the forest, but revealing what's in the forest, at least a little bit, is a goal I have for the world with this story within this section here that I'm working on. Then I have a little timer, and you can use this a couple different ways. If you like the Pomodoro method where you write, what I might do is I'll write for 25 minutes and then take a 5-minute break. And that's going to remind me to continuously set the timer. What I normally do, this is a very common way to do it, but what I would probably do is, it's currently about 11 o'clock. And I would put down 12:30, just to remind myself that 12:30 is when I need to get up and go get the kid from preschool, or his teachers are going to be very upset at me for leaving him there forever. It could also be, I could put in 2 hours so that I have a record that I spent 2 hours working. So whatever you want to do for your timer. Like, obviously I'm making this messy, but I hope it's not driving too many of you crazy with that. And then the last thing I have here is notes. And I did this as a bullet form so that you could doodle, you could do dots like a bullet journal. You could do this as like text and write. And for me, for this writing session, I think I'm going to put in a note, a reminder to keep it fun, because this is a middle grade novel. And even though I have some weighty themes, and Jamie's secret that I'm going to reveal is dark, I do want to remember to keep it fun. And I also want to remember, don't forget about Amma. And this is a character that I just made up kind of last minute as a spur of the moment thing when I was writing last session. And I kind of want to play with this character more and see if I actually want her to go on the journey. I might not. So I need to just remember not to forget a character that I actually made, which sounds terrible, but that's where we are. So this is the starting session. So this took me, like 5-ish minutes, and that was with me talking the whole time. So hopefully you could do this even faster. But I have a clear direction and a clear goal. So what I would do now is stop, put the book aside, and do my writing session for 2 hours or however long I have. And then once I finish my writing session, do this side. And so for the purposes of this video, we're just going to zip right along. So let's say I made my word goal of 1,500 words. I started off at 7526. I am not good at math, so I'm just going to round up to, like, let's say it was a really good one, and 9368. And then for total number of words written, I would use my calculator because I cannot math, but pretend I put an actual number there. So this is just a way to quickly look across the top. I have this set aside in a different color specifically for that reason, so you can kind of see how well you're doing. And as you flip through, you can see what your total word count. Then I have a reflection section, and the reason why I have this reflection section is, other than the fact that it rhymes, I think a lot of times we get down on ourselves after we've written. So usually immediately after a writing session, I'll feel like proud to tell a certain part of the story. Like, let's say I told Jamie's secret. So proud to tell Jamie's secret well. I would probably be happy to get to the journey because I need them to go on their journey to get to, or I might get even a little more personal because there are aspects of this story that are very personal to me. So I might say that it really reminded me of a situation of my life or something like that. And anyway, the reason why I have this reflection bit here at the start, the first thing that you do after you do the numbers, is because we do get down on ourselves later. As we write, once we finish a session, we usually are like riding the session high of getting this done well. but then you go on Twitter and you see somebody say, I wrote 10,000 words today. And you're like, oh, well, crap, I'm not anywhere near that good. Or you start second guessing yourself and going, oh, well, I really meant to do this, but I didn't get this done. Or, oh, I really wanted to write 8,000 words, but I only wrote 3, or whatever. Like, it's easy for me to second guess myself, and it's easy for me to get down on my own writing. So I wanted to have a place where I could really remember what it felt like to finish that moment when you finish your writing session and you lean back in your chair and you're like, I done good. That's what I want you to remember here, because it's so easy to forget. 5 minutes after you're done, you forget it. I have here a little circle. Personally, I think I'm going to use this circle to give myself like stickers. And if I did a really good job, I'm going to put a sticker here, because stickers make me happy and they fill me with joy, and they're going to be sparkles because glitter is awesome. But you could put a word here. You could put something to remember, whatever you want to do. I have this blank and vague on purpose for you to fill in as you go. And then the next section is seeds planted, because as we write, or at least as I write, I often forget about the things that I wanted to actually remember. So seeds planted is basically another word for foreshadow, or clues, are things that you've put in your novel that you know you want to touch on later. For me, for character, I would probably make a jot down of the exact thing that my character Jamie says. I know I'm talking a lot about Jamie's secret. It's really not that big a deal, but it's where I'm at right now in the manuscript. So I would put the clue about Jamie here. Like his secret is something that is very personal to him, and so he continuously like says it in a very vague way. And his word choice is important. So I probably would just put down the exact sentence of what he said when somebody pressed him about it, because there's a double meaning to it. For plot, I would look and see what did I have foreshadowed, and the theme of my story is really about friendship. So probably I have a scene about forest. They're going to be in the forest and they're going to be talking, and somebody's going to overhear it. So the forest communication gets overheard, and that's what progresses the plot, because at the end of the novel, you find out that somebody overheard that conversation. So I want to remember that this is where that conversation happened. And then a world building detail would be I'm being vague here, but for your own purposes, don't be vague. I would reveal what's in the forest. What they find in the forest is a big world building detail, and it's something that reflects the whole rest of the story. So these are the things that I know are important to the story, and they're the pieces that I can't forget and I will need to refer back to later. So you keep track of your foreshadows so you know to go back to them. You can also make a note here. Like for me, this would be the first example of tech. And I'm being vague again, but this would be the first example of that tech that they use for the communication. So if I'm flipping through my book and I'm like, oh, where did I put that scene? I can look here and go, oh, I put the first example here, and it was within this word range, and now I know exactly where I'm at. It could also be, if I forget this, I can know exactly where I need to go to cut it out of the manuscript later, or change it if the story changes. And then the last bit of this is probably the most important. It is what you're going to continue next time. And I think a lot of times people have a writing session and they put it all on the field at one go. And that's great. Put everything you can out there. But then the next day they start their writing session and they drained themselves so much before that they don't know where to start. And so for me, like, even as I'm doing this, I didn't even actually have a writing session. I'm like, oh, what would I write after I get these scenes done? You need to be thinking about what you're going to do next time, so that when you open this planner and do the next page, you can quickly go, oh, I remember what I was going to do. I was going to do this. And it gets you started. This is something I do all the time with my writing. If I'm writing on Scrivener, which is the writing program I most often use, I'll just put a few sentences and say, okay, next scene, they go to Paris, or whatever it is, just so that I have it in my mind. And it kind of triggers that mindset I had at the end of the writing session, so that I'm automatically already in this mindset of going off and doing what I'm doing. So the continue next time would be a note of where to start. For me, it would be probably, oh, look at me. I'm so smart. I just thought of this. It would be like their battle scene, because I want this book tightly paced. So they're going to go to the forest, they're going to discover something in the forest, and then I need to have them battle some bad guys. So I would just I'm not even going to fill out the rest of this, because if I saw those 2 words, I would know what I need to do next is set up the battle scene, have the bad guys there, get them started on that. Actually, I'll put down a note for weapon, because thinking on this, I have an idea for what I want my main girl to use as a weapon, but she hasn't found it yet. So now I know after I finish writing the scenes, the next thing I'm going to do is have her find the weapon so that she can use it in the battle. I am set. I am ready to go and write my next session. So yeah, this would be a spread. Like I said before, don't use Sharpie on your actual planner, because Sharpies bleed through paper real easily. And I wanted to keep the paper at a good consistency, but a ballpoint pen will work fine. But yeah, it did not take me long to do this, but this already has me focused enough to do 2 whole writing sessions. And actually, I think I'm just going to turn this video off and go get to work on writing, which is kind of the point of this planner. So I hope that you have a use for the planner and that it will help you get in the habits. And yeah, let's go write something. Bye, everyone.